Hey guys, it's Liv here, and today we are going to be going over our team for week 8 of the SPL, where we're taking on Keely. Now, this game, while we are pretty locked for playoffs, it is still a pretty big implication, because we actually have to choose our opponent if we win this game, most certainly. Otherwise, it's really not looking good, and we're going to get stuck with whoever we get stuck with. So hopefully we can win, and if you guys enjoy and want to see some more draft content in the future, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really does show that you guys are interested in this type of content. And with that said, of course, let's get into our first Pokemon for this week, which is going to be none other than our Alolan Ninetales. Now, Alolan Ninetales is going to be a pretty powerful, but also rather standard set. I mean, it's nothing too crazy. We've been using Alolan Ninetales as a focus Ash variant a lot, but this week in particular, it's actually going to be a lot more offensive with Blizzard, Aurora Veil, Weather Ball, and Chilling Water. Now, Aurora Veil especially is going to be really huge because Keely has a ton of wall breakers, and this is going to be a big difference in making sure that we don't get completely stomped on. But even outside of that, we have some pretty decent offensive moves here. Now, Keely will most likely go for Rain, so I do have both Chilling Water and Weather Ball as options. Chilling Water is great for hitting the Hisui Arcanine before Rain, because it is still a 4-time super effective move, and it also covers a lot of different 50-50s with random Terra Fire Mons, even outside of that. The Weather Ball, though, is going to be great if Keely does get Rain up, because it now gives us essentially a really strong water or ice attack, depending on what weather is currently active, and Keely's team takes a lot of damage from both options. Blizzard still be a great way to hit for spread damage, and overall, Alolan Ninetales will be a pretty powerful offensive piece here. And I think Keely might anticipate us leaning very heavily into support, and I can take advantage of that by just clicking Blizzard. Coming in hot, we have Metagross up next, which is going to be a Choice Scarf Metagross. Now, this is a very terrifying Pokemon against Keely's team, as with the Choice Scarf, we can actually outpace every single Pokemon, except for the fact that we are speed tying a max speed Jolly Sneasel, but only if it is literally max speed Jolly, and that's because we went with Adamant Nature. Even still, it's still obviously a 50-50 for Keely to have to get that, and most likely Keely will be hopefully going for Tailwind, which means that while our Metagross will be a bit slower, it's still going to be a powerful option nonetheless if she doesn't go for Tailwind. With these Psychic Fangs especially, this hits a good amount of Pokemon for some very severe neutral damage, while Ice Punch, Heavy Slam, and Earthquake are going to be some powerful options as well. I think most likely, though, we're going to be locking Psychic Fangs. It does just help a lot with very good neutral coverage into pretty much everything Keely has, and I think I'd rather just click that neutral coverage and just guarantee it'll be good than have to play around Terras, since options like Ice Punch, for example, are not good into things like Hisui Arcanine or Quackaball, even though they're really good into mons like Lando and Tornadus. So it kind of just depends on what Keely brings, but most likely this will either be a cleaner, or I might lead it depending on certain situations, because there are certain pairs of Pokemon that Keely could lead where this thing would just kind of claim to unlead and set me up for really good success. Coming up next, we have Crocodile, which is going to be a very, very, very powerful sweeper this week. Now, Crocodile, I think, will probably be something, I'm not too sure if it'll come to game 1, but I'm almost certain I'm going to bring it to game 2, and this is a very, very clean Terra pick for me. With Terra Water especially, this Crocodile is now great into matchups like, for example, the Baxcalibur, which it normally would not have been. It's a now actually legitimate resist to Hisui Arcanine's Fire Stab, which is most likely rocking a Choice Band. It's great in Hisui Sneasel, it's fantastic into Quackaball, and it is also a very good Intimidate Pokemon, and seeing as Keely can only actually use one Clear Amulet, but has a lot of physical attackers, this thing is going ham. I'm very much anticipating to click high horsepower into most Pokemon on this team, however, things like the Landorus and Tornadus will need knockoff, and Dunk Shot is going to be really strong into options like Serena. This Crocodile will be a fantastic pick into this matchup, and I'm very much so expected to claim several kills. Coming up next, we do have Tornadus, which is going to be a very decent Pokemon overall into this game. Now, Keely's team has a lot of different things that a Mental Herb Tornadus could actually do some decent work into, since Keely's own Tornadus will most likely be clicking Taunt. When I can match her Tailwind, Bleak Wind, and Icy Wind become very problematic because my Tornadus will actually outrun everything on Keely's team, besides, I guess, Choice Scarf users in Tailwind or things like Hisui Arcanine going for E-Speed. So I can go for options like Icy Wind and just continue my stat supremacy by making sure I will always have the stat advantage. This is a pretty strong lead into her Tornadus. The big concern, though, is the fact that if Keely does find out I have Mental Herb, this essentially is now going to be very complicated into the combination of Sneasel and Tornadus, because now both those Pokemon can very easily just go for Fake Out plus Taunt, guarantee that I'm not getting up my Tailwind, and then go for Taunt again even. And while I could partner this with things like, for example, Alolan Ninetales, click a Blizzard, and at least punish for not going for Alolan Ninetales, there is still some issues for sure that I run into. Overall, though, this is still a decent pick. It kind of depends on the Pokemon that Keely brings, if I'm going to bring this or not. Like, I probably would not bring this into a Baxcalibur team, for example, because this would be fodder for it. But into most other things, I do anticipate to bring this Pokemon. Up next, we have Volcanion, which has been the MVP of the season. Let me know, of course, by the way, here's your question of the day. I'm curious what you guys have been most impressed by this season, because for me, it's been Volcanion. I honestly think this borderline deserved, like, first pick overall, but that might be a hot take. This set's, though, going to be a Terra Steel set. Pretty basic, of course, with Heat Wave, Steam Eruption, Protection, Overheat. Now, the Overheat is going to be really good because there are some Pokemon that I kind of want to just make sure I can claim a very strong KO into. Things like, for example, a slightly weakened Excalibur. Obviously, Serena is just going to warrant a KO because that does set up really well for Raging Bolt, which I'll get into in a bit. There are a lot of picks, though, that overall that strong Fire-type move is going to be nice into, especially a lot of Terra Pokemon that might try and Terra around things like, for example, maybe the Metagross or even like the Alolan Ninetales. So I want to make sure I have this. Not only that, though, but Heat Wave is still a really good option overall in most Pokemon here, even just for neutral damage. And if Keely does get the rain up instead of my snow, then perfect. I have Steam Eruption. And now Keely might go for other weathers, and this is where I think that Weather Ball from earlier comes into play, because while Weather Ball will most likely benefit the highest from Water and Ice, Volcanion will still benefit a ton if Keely goes for Sun, because that would be the line of logic that would now boost my Raging Bolt, it boosts my Volcanion, which is why I think she'll go Rain. And that works out really well for Volcanion, because Steam Eruption now suddenly does a lot of damage, and even a lot of the resisted Pokemon do not like having to fight that 30% Scald Burn chance. So I think Volcanion's going to run away with this matchup. I think if it's not Crocodile, it will be Volcanion that claims like half my KOs this game. Finally, of course, we've got Big Bolt, the Raging Bolt, of course, our Raiden Shogun. And this Raging Bolt is going to be pretty powerful. I know it's nothing complicated. It's just a really bulky SpDef-wise AV Raging Bolt meant to still really combat things like the Landorus, because Landorus will have really decent options for both Terra Fairy and our pre-Terra Electric typing, but we can still take a lot of hits with this. Drago Meteor is going to hit so much Achilles team for really good damage outside of maybe random Terra Fairy Pokemon, which is honestly fine. I have a lot of different options that should combat that even just for neutral, so I'm not really too concerned. We also do have a Metagross that is going to be able to punish any Terra Fairy options, so again, not really concerned there. Thunderclap is going to be great, especially when we nail that Serena. That's a big reason for Volcanion being so dominant here. Thunderbolt is still really strong to most Achilles Pokemon, though. And then we have Weather Ball. Yet again, as I mentioned, with Weather Ball, this is going to be really good. This Weather Ball especially will really benefit from either Ice or Water, as it's great coverage for Landorus. And unlike my Ninetales, I don't have actual coverage for it otherwise. So even if, let's say, for example, it is Sun Up, though, that's still fine. A Terra Fire Weather Ball, well, I should say not a Terra Fire, but a Sun Boosted Weather Ball that's now a Fire typing is just going to clear my Serena problem for me with my Raging Bolt. So as I mentioned, like the back two Pokemon on this team really do like the Sun. My Volcanion and Ninetales, though, will still really like the Rain, and I have a lot of other options, even if it's like Sand, for example. This Rock typing is still going to be great to nail, like, let's say, for example, the Landorus for a nice neutral hit without having to drop my special attack, and it's also really good into things like the Excalibur. It's suddenly a very clean KO without having to worry about random Draco Meteor drops. So overall, that Weather Ball is going to be fantastic here, regardless of what Weather Keely brings. I know this builder was a bit longer than usual, but that's going to be it for the team. With that said, let's get right into our last game of the main season. All right, so we're going to see a Sneasel and Tornadus lead. Okay. Honestly, not a huge deal for the core, because if we're thinking about this logically, there is a very real chance that Keely is anticipating something of like a Covert Cloak scale on my Alolan Ninetales, since I am showing Terra Dark here, which is really important actually, because it does try and put some pressure on the Tornadus. Now with Tornadus and Sneasel on the lead, actually, I feel like a Blizzard is a really free play, because my opponent is probably going to go for something like, for example, if I had to guess, like a Rain Dance, because it's a nice middle ground into the Raging Bolt not getting boosted by Sun, while also helping things like Tornadus with Bleak Wind, and it clears through Veil Chance. So I'm just going to full send a Blizzard, if we're going to be honest. I think it's perfectly fine. And then I'll go for like a Thunderbolt, just raw into the Sneasel here, because I'm going to assume it's Focus Sash. And I would like to scout for that. We're going to see Fake Out come off. That's perfectly fine. And Rain Dance. Yep. Okay, perfect. So the nice 1-2. All of this is perfectly okay, actually. It was all very, very calculated for. And we got a freeze in the Sneasel, which is actually, I can't lie, that is really lucky for game one. But also, we've revealed a Tornadus item already, which is huge, because I did not anticipate we would have gotten that at this point. So this is all actually really, really good. This turn one actually went as good as it could have been. I'm going to proceed to go for a... I'm not going to reveal Weather Ball just yet, but it will do very, very well into that Arcanine if it came. I'm actually just going to go for a Blizzard here, just yet again. And I'm just going to go for a Thunderbolt into the Sneasel. I would like to wait to reveal my Weather Ball on either Pokemon for as long as possible, because it is going to be a really good way to nail that Arcanine, and I can just kind of dual target it. Because even if, let's say, Arcanine dies, the partner spot is still going to take so much from the Rain Boost and the Weather Ball that it won't really matter. And it helps a lot with, like, anything going wrong, I guess, with like a Scarf Arcanine getting a KO or just like a Rock Slide or something. We're going to see the Sneasel switch out here. So we're going to get third Pokemon now. We're going to see Lover come out. That is going to be the Serena. Okay, perfectly fine. It's going to have to take a Blizzard still. So I'm okay with that. And we're going to see Tornadus go for Terra game 1. Which is, again, perfectly fine. I don't really mind Terra Steel Tornadus, actually. It is probably the best Terra for me that Keely could go for. I get that it's being preserved right now to try and spam things like Leak Wind and just maybe like Sash Break. We've also revealed it is now slower, which is good to know. Okay, good to know. Good to know. This is a big reason actually why we had that max speed on Ninetales though. Not to really overcreep it. We just get the kill. We get what we need to. You know, we came for this. We do see the Serena came in though, which most likely meant that my opponent is trying to avoid like a Thunderclap this turn. Didn't really matter. We don't really even need to scout for that. We could just be implied that it's Queenly Majesty because Serena has no other good abilities. My opponent will definitely be proceeding to go for a Tailwind this turn with like probably a Trop Kick or maybe a Play Rough. I can honestly just click Blizzard here, and then I can go for a... I could probably just go for Blizzard and Thunderbolt here. I don't really lose anything going for that, actually. We're going to see Tailwind come off from Tornadus, so that's fine. And we do see Triple Axle actually come off. Okay, so Triple Axle is still perfectly fine. Because even if Raging Bolt did die here, let's say, which it actually didn't, I'm actually kind of surprised by that. Even if Raging Bolt did die here, though, we're going to clear the Serena, and that is, like, fine for Crook, actually, because Sneasel is so chipped at this point and frozen that my Crook is in a very, very good spot here. So, we're going to go for Thunderbolt in the Torn. We got to kill with Ninetales, and we got to kill with Raging Bolt as well. So that is very huge. And the priority blocker died. So, this is all, again, going according to plan. Depending on what that last mon is, though, I am just going to switch out of my Raging Bolt into Volcanion. If it's Quack Ball specifically, if it's Landorus, I'm just going to let it die. Because there's not really a reason to preserve. We're going to see Quack Ball. Yeah, okay. So, there is a lot of merit, actually, in just going for a... Actually, no, because Sneasel's frozen. I don't even need to. If Sneasel wasn't frozen here, there would be some merit in this. My play is actually probably to just go for the Weather Ball into the Sneasel and just claim my kill that way. In case of any... Actually, no. It's not even that. I actually have a much simpler play. It's actually to just go straight into Volcanion here. Is it? Yeah, because Tailwind's up. Okay, yeah. So we're going to go for that. And then I'm going to go for a Thunderclap into the Quick Wobble. If Fake Out goes off, so be it. It's perfectly fine. And I don't even really mind revealing 4th Mon at this point. It's just not going to matter that much. Mostly because of the fact that, frankly, Volcanion should be kind of implied. We are going to get this Thunderclap off. We're going to see Focus Sash 2. Which is interesting. It's on this Pokemon, actually. That means the Sneasel might be Clover Cloak. Which is something of note, for sure. Okay. We're going to see Close Combat pop. That's honestly okay. This really doesn't matter a ton. The Tailwind with that being +1 is a little scary. I won't act like it isn't. But it's really not the biggest deal in the world. Because we're at minimum going to clear its Rain Boost. And I can kind of cook with this. Because it's actually not... Yeah, because it's not actually clear Amulet. I can go into Crocodile here. And I can actually just go for Terra Water, which I didn't even really think about till just now, because Terra Water actually should just kind of chew. Because my opponent will go for like a... I mean, I'm not even really sure what they're going to go for, I'll be honest. But my play is definitely just go for a Protect here. Actually, no, it isn't even to go for Protect. It's actually just go straight up into my Ninetales here. And then to go for... No, never mind, I don't have Earthquake, I forgot about that. I was thinking I had Earthquake for some reason because my Metagross is Earthquake. But yeah, my play is to just go for a Steam Eruption into the Sneasel because it's my most accurate move in this mon. And then to go for a knockoff onto the Quaquaval because it's 100% accurate. Sneasel is still frozen solid. Genuinely, that's actually unfortunate. That really is unfortunate. Close Combat's gonna go off. Oh, I meant to Terra Water. I meant to Terra Water that. It's still not a big deal. My Raging Bolt should still win. But I did mean to go for Terra Water there. Okay, well, this is still only +1. It's not really that scary. And Quaquaval is no good spread move. I just let it get an extra kill for, like, no reason whatsoever. It is what it is. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to go into Ninetales here. I will say as well, there is a very important thing to note here. that my opponent definitely got very unlucky with that freeze, because that Sneasel actually was probably one of the better mons to be applying pressure here. So it definitely was a very important freeze for sure. We're just gonna go for a Weather Ball. I'm not gonna, actually no, I'm gonna go for Chilling Water. Big reason being is I would like to not reveal Weather Ball, if I'm gonna be honest. Close combat going off into Volcanion, that makes a lot of sense actually. The only reason that I'm kind of shocked it didn't do as much as it did. That said though, I didn't really want to gamble with Blizzard, even though it would have been nice to not reveal that move, but we'll take it either way. Good to know though. Quaquaval did die. Game 1 was ours. We'll take that. We'll take that for sure. Ninetales got another kill here, which is beautiful. Ninetales getting to pull up in week 8, which is huge. For game number 2, I'm not even sure if I really need a different lead. I'm gonna be honest. I'm anticipating the Landorus to lead fully, which is the big concern that I have with leading same lead. But I think I could adjust to that fine, actually. I think what I could maybe even do, because, alright, so logic here. If Landorus leads, that means that my opponent is not going to be leading with Torn, most likely. And if they lead with Torn, then that kind of works. Because Torn Landorus actually would be very weak to Scarf Metagross. I could just lead with Metagross. If I lead with a really slow comp, there's actually no reason for Keely to go for Tailwind turn 1. So I think I could even go as far as going for like a Raging Bolt Metagross lead. Maybe try and avoid showing item too much, or I might go with like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right, so we're actually gonna see Arcanine lead off this time. Arcanine is interesting, but I get it. It's just interesting for sure. Let's see. So it's Arcanine with Torn. Well, again, okay, so this, to be fair, maybe is a little more insensitive for my opponent to go for Tailwind here, but it's not a big deal. Because neither of these Pokemon can actually pressure my Croak properly. And even if Arcanine goes for a Terra Normal here, I'm okay with that. Because it's a waste of a Terra for my opponent. I'm actually going to go as far as to burn my Metagross Terra turn 1. My Metagross Terra should actually be very good in this team, because nothing really actually pressures it properly. We'll go for high horsepower. And I'm going to actually just lock... I think I just lock Psychic Fangs. The only check to Psychic on this team is Terra Tornadus. So I'm going to go for Terra Water and go for Psychic Fangs into the Torn. If my opponent goes for Terra on Arcanine, I'm okay with that. But my logic should be to go for this. And I will say, if Arcanine does Terra here, it is going to reveal I'm Scarf. But if my opponent is playing around that, they're either going for Terra this turn on the Arcanine, which means that they're probably going to click like a Flare Blitz into the Metagross. Or B, they're going to go for Tailwind here. And they're going to... It's not going to... Oh, perfect. So they didn't Terra either Mon, which is actually really huge. Yeah, Flare Blitz going perfect. This is why we have the Terra Water. This Metagross is actually like genuinely so good in this matchup. I'm so glad we have Terra Water here. It helps a lot. It really does. And my opponent burning Tailwind this turn is really huge for me. We're going to see Citrus Berry go off again. That's fine. We are going to just kind of nail this Arcanine right now, which is beautiful. All right, perfect. We'll take that. Crocodile getting its first kill of the year, which is unfortunate. It only had week 7 and 8, and it didn't even show up week 7, but like, we'll take it. We'll take it. It's showing more than Vivillon, because Vivillon has not touched the field yet, unfortunately. Very, very sad day. But Serena came out as Mon number 3. Okay, that's actually perfectly fine. My play is to go into Volcanion here. And then to go for a Psychic Fangs into the Tornadus, because I'm pretty sure we actually kill with that second one. If we don't, it's going to be a pretty close roll, but I'm pretty sure we just kill. And because my opponent didn't Terra on the last turn, they actually don't know I'm Scarfed. It could, technically speaking, just be a really fast Metagross and a really, really slow non-invested Crook. And my opponent actually doesn't have any information on that, which is actually really good. This actually helps a lot with my game planning right now. And my opponent's gonna go for Rain Dance here, which is muy bien. Muy bien. We'll take that. Power Up will go off. That's gonna deal a lot to Metagross. Unfortunately, that will kill. Okay. That's fine. I thought they'd go for that in a Crook, but that's okay. We did what we could. I still feel fully fine with that play, honestly. We're gonna go into Crocodile here. And then I'll double Crocodile into Raging Bolt. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that, because my opponent could actually still work with that perfectly fine. We're going to at least drop this Serena's attack, though, which works for me. And I'm okay with that. We'll go for... I mean, honestly, I think I just Steam Eruption this, and then I go for Gunk Shot, because they don't know yet that I have Gunk Shot on this. So I think it's a perfectly fine play. Like genuinely, it is a perfectly fine play. My opponent will probably just go for Drop Kick, or actually, they'll probably go for Triple Axle, because of the fact that it's like a lot less of a gamble for the Raging Bolt double here. But still, I just need to be careful of it. A speed drop really doesn't actually make a difference. Power up, yeah, okay, cool. That gets another kill. It is what it is. Serena's putting in some numbers. What can I say? That's still fine, because we're gonna nail the Torn. And nailing the Torn is still really good. That is decent support my opponent has now. That is completely gone. We are both down to last Pokemon at this point, so I'm okay with this. If it's Quavel, it's a little bit concerning, but it's not a huge deal. It really is not, because I can still definitely work around this. There's no immediate way to kill both my Pokemon here. Because what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go for a Heat Wave this turn, and I'm gonna go for a I'm gonna go for a Raw Thunderbolt here. Best thing my opponent could do is go for Celluterra on the Quavel, which would be terrifying. Objectively, that would be terrifying. But it won't kill, and we know that it won't kill without dual targeting with Triple Axle. They're not gonna go for Celluterra either, and they didn't even kill Volcanion, which is huge. Yeah, that's actually really huge. I will say, if Serena dual targeted, which they did not, thankfully, then that could have been bad. But we can kill Quavel at least. If Serena did dual target, I think I might have actually lost the game, because I don't know if Raging Bolt could necessarily 2v1. It might be able to, but it would have been a lot riskier. I think they were just counting on Quavel getting that kill into Volcanion this turn, though. But because we actually got the kill here, we're in a really good spot. Yeah, because at this point, ooh, we got the burn on Serena. Honestly, even luckier, I can't lie. But I don't really think it actually matters a lot. Yeah, if they dual targeted Volcanion, I lost, for sure. I won't act like there wasn't some level of gambling, and again, I think really the greater issue is not going for Terra Stellar Bear, because that would have just killed Volcanion outright. I would have avoided getting the burn there, and it would have ended up 2v1 anyway. But it is what it is. Honestly, Volcanion is such a complex mon EV-wise, I don't even blame my opponent for not taking that risk, because there is still a lot of merit in going for the Terra Water on Serena here. That said, I'm not entirely sure on Calx here, but I'm not even going to bother. For now, I'm just going to go for Thunderbolt plus Overheat, because my opponent has not used Terra yet in this game. And I would like to not, yeah, I would like to not assume that Power Whip is going to kill with a burn into Volcanion because of how bulky it is. And this accounts for both plays without having to gamble for Draco. My opponent is going to actually dodge Overheat. Honestly, deserved with how lucky I've gotten this game. Deserved. Very deserved, actually. But it is what it is. We're going to go for an Overheat here yet again. Because again, Power Whip can just miss. It can outright just miss. And this is like my lowest drawback play. Perfect. Okay, Serena gets another kill. Serena's honestly killing it this game. It did a lot into my team for sure. Especially with the mons that I brought, because I didn't bring either 20-disc or 9-kills for it. Which, maybe it's prep error on my part. Honestly, it probably is. But still, either way. Like, we'll take it. Raging Bolt's going to clean up, though, which is more than fine. We will take that for sure. Yeah, we guarantee kill with burn anyway. I'm gonna be honest, clicking Thunderclap and Scouting is kind of funny. It's a little BM. I won't act like it isn't, but I guarantee kill with burn anyway. I'm gonna do it because it would have been funnier to see it not be, you know. It's for the content. And Triple Axle, yeah, Triple Axle's not doing anything. GG to my opponent. It was very fun to get to play Keely's team. Keely had one of the more interesting teams of the season for sure. I loved the Torn Lando, Baxcalibur, Arcman quad. It was just very HO heavy, and Keely having Quavel, like, if anyone's been a long time viewer of the channel, Quavel is my favorite Gen 9 mon. You know how much I fuck with them on. So it was very nice to actually see it, and it put in some decent numbers too. Like, I mean, I won't act like Quavel got the most amount of kills, it only got 2 kills, but like, it definitely put up a lot of pressure on my team. It was unironically probably the second scariest mon in the matchup. I would say the only thing that was scary, I know Serena got a lot of kills, so I wasn't that much scared of it. The only thing scarier was the Landorus, because the Lando actually put up a lot of pressure into my Terras. But it is what it is. If you guys enjoyed though, leave a like on the video and subscribe for more. Check out Keely, of course. Her link will be down below, as well as the rest of the SPL coaches. I don't know who we fight next week. I was probably one of the first people to lock a playoff. Well, not lock a playoff seed. I was one of the first people to finish all 8 weeks though. And a lot of the stats are not inputted either. So at the time of recording this, I genuinely don't know who's fighting who for playoffs. But I'm looking forward to kicking ass. We'll see you guys later. Peace out though.